Hey everyone. Um, Thanks for joining me tonight. It is exactly clock you see on my fancy clock shader here. I want to walk through the creation of something like this. It's not gonna look exactly like this. It's gonna be a little bit simpler. At least we try to keep things under an hour. But I am going to get started. I could explain a little bit about what's going on here. There's a lot of code. Tried to clean this up a little bit. Um, but the first and most important thing I think to note is just that this clock that I have here is a 24-hour clock. I've just kind of halved a lot of the values or doubled the values. Go from 12 to 24. And I like the way it looks here in full circle, but the original view looked like this, and I I keep it on my phone, and so that's a 12-hour clock there. Um, Everything's duplicated because of just the way I set it up. Like so, the big circle here is the hour. So we're at the 10th hour, we're approaching midnight minute, and obviously the second one's going fast. Duplication is irrelevant for what I'm going to talk about right now, but enough of that. I'm going to get started. A lot of work to do. I see how far we get. Jump over here. I have a simpler scene, much simpler. The only stuff I'm starting with are a couple of SDF functions like the circle and the box. That's, again, as always, I want to credit Amigo Quilez, fantastic resource. Fisho Gonzalez Vivo, two of my biggest shader inspirations. Oh, that's the wrong. Oh no, that's right. Yeah. And so yeah, I I'm pulling the date information from a built-in uniform, which is just kind of baked into the editor, which is Fisho's editor we're using today. And I asked him about getting this date format right, and he explained that it's tricky, and I wish it was a little bit simpler, but basically the date contains all the information for year, month, day of the month, and time. And it's a vector 4, so your time is like baked into the fourth value, the W, and it's done with this equation here. Um, I'm not going to dig too much into this. I did a lot of the experimentation over here, trying to get things exactly right. I might end up copying a couple of those lines over. I'm going to try to avoid the copy and paste, but I will need to reference this. It just kind of feel where I'm going. But yeah, I just did a quick little sketch in here, and this circle right now is utilizing the date, so that should be again 24-hour clock right now, and where midnight would be the top. So I think it's accurate. We'll have to double check once I get like more precise here. But I'm just gonna make a normal clock, so not gonna do 24-hour. Just keep things simple to start with, and about everything so far. That's a boilerplate. I'm going to trace a lot of this. Start from almost scratch. Okay. Uh, so yeah, this is how I would start new sketch. Kind of at this point where I have a couple of functions. Only going to use a box and the circle for simplicity. Check out the other 2D SDFs. And yeah. Okay. So step one is going to be I want to do my ticks around the outside of ring. I'm doing a 12-hour clock, so I'll do 12-hour ticks, and then we can do minute ticks for dots after that. Try to keep things organized with the comments. Um, So, I learned about this technique not that long ago, and it's still sort of escaped me how this works. I know I said I wasn't gonna copy it, but just to start us off, um, okay, so ignore the errors for now. Let's start line up by line. What we're calculating is we're using tau instead of pi because I like to use tau when dealing with circumferences. But we'll do 12, so we're dividing. Think of tau as a full circle, so we're dividing a full circle by 12. So that will give us the amount in radians of 12th piece of the full circle. Then we're calculating a sector, which it's the angle of the current pixel, remembering that GLSL and shader code runs on every pixel. So take the current pixel, which I'm going to set to P instead of UV. That's what I set it to up here. And gets the angle divided by this angle plus 0.5 is kind of a constant offset. Get an value, which I think is just angle again. Rotation. Give it an R. Change things up. A rotation value, which is equal to the current sector that we're in times the angle amount. R stuff. Oh yeah, it's 3 offset and didn't work. So this is always fun. Oh well, it did work actually. I'm not adding it. I'm gonna add another section. Nation. You remember from before, we use minimum to add a maximum to subtract. So I'm going to add what I just did. 6. Okay, and that if that felt quick, all sorts of resources you could look on this. This part here, this rotational part, I need to spend some more time figuring out what exactly is going on here, because it duplicates the single SDF call, which is really cool. And you can now you could do like 24 to I don't decimals weird, but yeah, we got our top 12 ticks. There, it's starting to look like a clock already. And let's do, because we're doing this, we're gonna do the dots. So I can just reuse a lot of the variables from before, because once we've used them to generate the final value here, saves us having to remake new variables. Equals divided by. Okay, so a minute hand vector is equal to the same exact line, basically copy and pasting this. We are getting the angle of the coordinate. We're dividing that by our angle defined, small offset, and we're flooring the result. And that R is equal to angle, I really don't know. And that's why shader code will often feel like math. Because I don't know, just code and technology in general often feel like math. But this stuff in particular I find extra magical. Math magical. Go. Using the rotational matrix there. And I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'm not gonna make a new space for that. That's distracting. Whereas I can't reuse box equal box from you. Oh no, I'm gonna use box and go for this circle. Your point. For summation, min d. Oh, we did an offset. Why? Do 3? Much too big. Better. I don't like that. Oh, I'm going to add this in ring value. It's just like I'm gonna use right now is 4 and ring. And this way, as I start adding elements, I have a single value to instead of. Oh, see that just looks crazy. Boom, 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 boom. I could do this all day. Okay. So that's a nice little frame for us there. Haven't done anything. And yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna look back too. I don't like how big these are. I'm gonna try to avoid getting too nitpicky at this point. Okay. 12-hour clock. Where are we on the 12 clock? Let's start with our hand. Give it its own space. Let's start. Call it H is fine. So H is equal to P. We always create a new space and set it equal to our original space, and I will try to not mess with this original space as much as possible, except for the initial setup and centering element. That way I can keep copying it into new space. It's like vector 2 two-dimensional space. So each is now our space for our hand. Build it. Final. Circle. Each size of 0.1 is going to be summit. Okay. So obviously it's in the center, right? So I centered our space, -0.5 starting position, and then copied that, so that's easy. Now we can affect H. So move it up a little bit, right? Which I don't need to do. I'm just demonstrating. But what do I need to do with H? I need to position it accurately on the hour that it is. So it's 10 o'clock-ish. I mean, you'll notice with the other one, I like that it's static. right? Exactly on the second, exactly on the minute, exactly on the hour, as opposed to like partial completion. You could do either, but I'm probably just gonna stay static right now. So, and I could make, but so I need R value. I'll just keep reusing this. Oh, I gotta rotate it first. I don't know. I don't know if you notice. I got a mic arm. Um, hopefully, I was told this would help the sound is to keep the microphone close. I hope there's a nice. What is happening? And multiply it by. I don't know what's happening. It looks cool. Okay, Matt 2. Gross. Yeah, very very fancy now with this. I even got the little wind protector on it. But yeah. Let's see. I don't know what just happened. I don't. It's smearing the circle all around instead of rotating it. Oh, because ours doing the 60. It's 60 of them. Okay, hold on. Gotta reset our ours equal tau for now. Tau divided by 12. It's moved 1/12 of the distance. Now this is where the time value comes in. So this, let's see what we got here. So uniform. This comes in from the program. Due date W. This is just a mess. I'm gonna try to do it without cheating real quick because I do have it solved on the last one. But okay, so I know that quote, and I'm gonna call it hours. Yes, I'm getting things are getting weird now. I'm gonna change H for yelling at me. Hours is equal to a.w. Remember, it's vector 4, and the time is stored in the fourth value, and it's all added together. So this will give me the approximate huge number because it's 3,600 times the hours plus the minute times 60 plus the seconds plus milliseconds. I'm going to hold on. This float date to floor this value. This is just to make things more convenient for me later on. Flooring will get rid of the decimal, which in this equation is just the milliseconds. I don't want those. And then I will. Okay, so I have a floored thing here. I need just the hours out of this. So this is the part that tricky. And I need it to be divided by 12. So if I take this and I divide it by 3,600 times, it's already kind of right. Hold on, I need to make this smaller. Okay, so it's not exactly right because it is factoring the percentage Yeah, we're 10:20, so it's factoring how far along it's already gone. Which, just like before, I think really just requires me to floor out any decimal, and it will be exactly perfect. Okay, and we won't know if this works until exactly 11 o'clock. I'm going to try to watch the clock, and hopefully this works. This is like the hardest part about testing this stuff right now, or with my last one. It was like, okay, I made one small change, and now I need to wait 37 seconds for it to like strike the next minute to test if minutes work, and then obviously even more so with the hours. And it took me like 5 hours to troubleshoot the hour hand to make sure it was like perfectly lined up, like to the second that it would change on time. Um, because I kept missing it. Go, oh yeah, 5 minutes to 9. Okay, I'll check, and then it'd be 9:15, and I'd totally. Um, But yeah, but that looks good enough for now. It might be like a second or two off. So with the last one, it depends on how the time's calculated. Um, but I'd watch it. I'd have to watch it to know for sure. But that's close enough for now. I think that's fine. So the hour hand's complete. Um, hand is like a whole thing. Let's do the minute hand. Hand. Okay, float. Mins. Okay, so, all right, so I do date. Add that to 30. I'm like, I just did that for now. Um, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. It might be some kind of internal clock. It's probably my system clock. Hey, yeah. I just went back an hour in my time zone, and it jumped back. So it's definitely system. On my Android, which is where I did the original coding uh for the clock, it definitely used system as well. That lines up. My time zone. I gotta change it back now. Forget. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, we confirmed that. That's where was I? Minutes, minute hand. This is not right. I'm just putting it there for now because I need it. But R is going to equal tau divided by, so minutes we're doing 60. See? Times minutes. And then I'm just gonna copy some stuff. Well, no, so see, like I still would have to wait, unless I get very fiddly by setting. Like I could set my time to be like 10 seconds before the strike of 9, but I just find that to be more tedious, especially um, when I have to do it more than once. And it wasn't a huge deal. Like it's funny for me that like it took me 5 hours to troubleshoot the hour hand to make sure it was perfectly lined up on the second. But um, not like that was a lot of work. I was doing other things and watching TV mostly. Um, but it is good to know that I can troubleshoot. And actually, what I did too, what I figured out I could do is, where's my date? So where I set the date, I could just subtract 3600 as well. I can just kind of fake it because that's an hour. Um, and in fact, when I was testing, I did subtract like 60 seconds to make it to like redo the minute. Uh, which, but for me, was never like a true test of whether or not it was working because I don't know. I just worried like something could screw up. Whereas if I'm just taking the raw date time and then I know it's pure. I witnessed all the spheres align at high midnight. Right? Yeah, it was a good thing. But anyway, so if I just to walk myself through this mentally, if I if I modulo, not modulate, modulo out 3600 from the date, that will take out the hours and leave only the minutes and seconds. And I already got rid of the milliseconds, just the minutes and seconds. So then what I had to do with this, I also had to like delete the seconds. Okay, so float x to mod no divided by 6 mins divided by 60 and for it because I don't want any decimals. That should work. And then mins then becomes minus equal. I think this will work, but I have to build it. Okay, where were we? This. Oh, I need its own space. Vector 2, the M space. Always taking from that, and then replace M. We'll do another circle, the M space, and make this smaller than I. Add it to our total distance field. Wait, does that seem right? Okay, oh yeah, this is... Oh no, so I accidentally built the second hand. First of all, okay. For the second hand. Let's do that. What did I do? Those seconds. Which seconds is right though? Okay, so it's about to hit the high. I'm looking at my clock. I got 28. Didn't change. That's probably not right. Going around again. See, it's yeah, like so. It might take me 20 seconds to edit time value in order to save those 20 seconds. Or I can just kind of wait. Okay, almost there. Looking at the clock. Went off. Okay, I remember this. That was like 1 second delay, which is fine. I'm okay with that for now. It's close enough. But we accidentally made the second hand with this whole setup here. And I'm tempted. Actually, that's exactly. I'm just going to copy this. Going to name the second hand. Recreate the space. Oh, I don't need any of this. And second. Okay, so they're obviously just overlapped right now. So that is. But I could make this smaller just to show it now. Yeah, okay, so the second hand, this one, technically subtracting out right now, and that's a little black dot. They're lined up. I don't want them to be lined up because that's not how minutes work. Let's see. So I took out. I just did this. Why can't I? I remember what it's supposed to be. If I modulo 3600 out of the date, I'll be left with basically everything from 1 to 35.99. And that's an hour. All the hours I need. So 60. Hmm. See, this feels like it should be right. And I think I'm going to just reference. I don't want to delay too long here, so I'm going to reference the last one. What heck? Wait, forget the absolute. Couple of things. Um, Adjustment. So we're doing tau times floor. What is min sec? This is so different because it's 24 hours too. Okay, which means I had to do 120 minutes going around, 120 seconds. Look at min sec. Mod sec. Mod min sec. Then I subtract? No. I divide it by 6 for it. Add 1. Okay. I'm going to heal this part. Oh. Okay, let's try it. Let's try to floor it. After dividing it. Is that right? 33. Hey, looks right. Definitely wrong for seconds though. I can. Seconds. Odd date 3600. I'll do this part. Oh yeah, and now it seems like it's working. Okay. All right. I mean that's basically a functional clock. I have to tweak a little bit because I'm almost positive the values are off. Move these up. Hour. Let's see. If I floor the date, mod of date. Oh, so yeah, okay, so yeah. So the second one actually includes the minute hand, but it doesn't matter as long as it's the multiple of 60. That's why they're almost identical. That's fine. Like that. I'm gonna keep that up there. My like global setup. Nice, clean. Here. That. I'm happy with that. Obviously, and then the rest just becomes like decoration. Like I added some more circles. I added oh yeah, I did rings instead of circles technically, which is a little math trick. I added some color. I did like a subtraction element, which was fun to figure out. I really love the look of this. I want to make it. I'm gonna like animate the rings, and I was thinking of making these ones the same color. Um, Color's tricky. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that well. Right now, I'm doing it with if statements, which generally I've heard people. I don't know. It seems like common wisdom in shaders to avoid if statements. But lately, I've been seeing more and more if statements crop up, and I wonder if it's that might just be related to the faster GPUs being able to handle it. My phone could handle these if statements, so phone GPUs seem to be okay with it. Um, the way it was framed to me was if you use conditionals, uh, you have to remember that a GPU technically runs all of the code. So when you make a branch like an if else, it will run every pass, every pixel it runs it on. It will run all of the code, the if and the else. It's smart enough to know, like, discard this stuff, but it's not smart enough to not run that code. So you can't use an if statement to like get yourself out of like only do this really expensive processing under a very limited condition. Because if the expensive processing is within your code, it will run for every pixel. And so that's my understanding. That could be totally wrong. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can kind of see how I went doing this process here. This was so much fun, and this was like days of work and small tweaks here and there. Really convenient to have it on my phone because even though it's a pain in the butt to like do coding with the phone keyboard, it you could do 5 minutes at a time. So little small tweak here, small tweak there, change a color, um, and yeah, and it turned out pretty cool. This is probably gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna leave that be because I could just start adding stuff and I could get it to look like this, but that'll take me another hour or so, and I'm a little bit tired, so it might just be a quick hour tonight. And remembering, I'm not going to test um, whether or not these are perfectly lined up. I know the second hand is going to be 1 second off. The minute hand might be a second off or two, and the hour hand should be fine. But they all might be a second off because of the mod functions. No, the hour hand might be fine because it does, but the mod function I think screws it up a little bit um, for the precision. Yeah. Let me talk about one more thing. Oh yeah, I did figure out. This is just I just think this is amazing. But I figured out this like trick, which is just to use a smooth step function instead of a step. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but let me show you what I had for the difference of what this like smoothing out does. Um, Essentially a step function, which is what I was very commonly using. Uh, is this? And oh yeah, so I can already see the difference in that the circle, especially, is very aliased, very jaggy lines. You can kind of see the pixels. Get right up close to the screen, you'll see it. But I can like make it bigger too. Oh, it's gonna be all skewed. But I'm gonna refresh this. That okay. um, but even here, I can see that, and you can probably see it on the on the video too. Um, and they're like I looked into anti-aliasing techniques and all these things, but like they're complicated and expensive, and I just was like, I'll figure that out eventually. And I was dealing with this jagginess, but I figured out that if I do a smooth step, which is like a step, but instead of binary black or white, it does a nice smooth transition. Um, that looks so good. And I just made a little function because smooth step takes in 3 vowels, and I just wanted these to be masterful. Oh god. Oh yeah, okay, so if I make it bigger, it's blending further. That looks almost 3D. That's kind of cool. And then if you go negative, it just like pop and does some crazy stuff. Not worried about negative values. But basically, what's happening here is I'm blending it instead of what this was like. I don't know if it's designed or whatever, but the intended effect would be like blend from. It's like a lerp, actually. It's very much like a lerp function, but you have to define the values. And so I defined a really, really small value, and it softens the edges, and it makes the jaggies go away. And I was very pleased when I figured this out. Again, it's probably not something that's like I discovered or anything. I doubt I'll be discovering anything new in this field, but I'm having fun. I'm glad you spent some time here with me tonight, or and maybe you learned something. Maybe you didn't. I might make a time lapse of this. It should be pretty cool. But for now, that's all I think I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll visit more of this later. Who knows? I don't. But thank you again. It was nice to hang out. Goodbye.